So what we're going to do is we're going to take this particular piece of cable here and we're going to put a couple tips on it. In this case, we're going to build a crossover cable, so we'll get a chance to see both the 568A side and 568B side. That's nice, my little testing unit here. This is a cheaper testing unit, but nice enough to actually have the color codes on the side of it if you don't have it memorized. I've unfortunately had the experience of building so many of these cables that I could never forget how to build one of these cables. Now this particular type of cable, this is again unshielded twisted pair. It's just a simple PVC casing on the outside. It actually comes in a couple different flavors. You have this type, and then you have one called plenum, which is fire rated for running in high-rise buildings so it doesn't catch fire. But it's still unshielded. Don't think of plenum as a shield. Think of it as a fire code safety thing. But in this case, a simple unshielded twisted pair with solid core copper wiring on the inside. Now the other option would be stranded on the inside. Stranded is a lot more difficult to work with when you're building patch cables. It tends to wiggle around a lot when you're trying to make it. But solid core tends to be a lot easier to work with. But you have to make sure you have the right ends or tips that'll crimp down to the solid core connectors. Okay, so what we need to do first is grab some strippers. No, wire strippers, so that we can take off the shielding. I typically take about 2 inches off of this. I have plenty of room to work with. So take about 2 inches off. What you want to do is placing the strippers here, and then just let it rest lightly. Goes around once, one off, and then this should just peel right back. Okay, so with that, what we have here is we have the different pairs now exposed. Now you want to make sure that the stripper here worked properly and didn't nick any of the cable on the inside, because it'll make it brittle, and if you start working with it, it'll fall apart, and that's generally not a good thing. Also could affect the actual data being sent across the wire. All right, so there's the 4 wires here, and then there's this little piece of fiberglass type stuff. Who knows what it is? This is actually the stringer here is used to, the old cable way of doing this, you just cut a little notch in it and use this thing to pull back the PVC coating around the cable. So I usually just take a pair of scissors. I got my my Leatherman workman tool here, and just simply cut this off. All right, so just cut that off. That aside into the garbage pile over there, and it's good to go. All right, so usually what I do here is I take the 4 pairs and I kind of split them out like this, and then I go through the process of actually unwinding them. So I go through and just unwind each of these pairs, and then either with a nail or with the edge of something metal, I'll just take and straighten them, just go through it with my nail a couple times. Now you go through a lot of cables and it'll make your finger absolutely raw. So you can do this if you're only going to make a couple cables. You're probably fine and won't ever notice it. You go making 100 cables and doing that, you're really going to notice that your whole finger, the whole part of your finger here, will just get raw from straightening out these cables. So the other way to do it is to just take and unwind them like this. There we go. So just unwind them down to where you strip these back here, and then to get them, you notice all the little kinks in the cable here. To get them straightened out, you just take the edge of your scissors, not the sharp part, but the edge of your scissors, make a thumb on the back of it, and just straighten straight through it a couple times, and you'll see that it straightens out quite nicely here. And just make sure you don't dig deeply in there and actually pull back the little plastic coating over it. And expose the metal. All right, so I'm going to do that for the other ones here. Do the brown pair. Also the green pair.